This right here is what I call a engineering marvel.
But guess what? We're like $8,000 upside down. Thanks, Chevy.
Here's why I think cars that were built 20 years ago are better than modern day cars.
Can you imagine a company so stupid that they would put a changeable filter right there?
One of the things in today's world that is causing the average repair of your car to go up is the fact that automotive engineers used to think about us when they designed and built these cars.
This is another reason why BMW engines are junk.
Why does Volkswagen use Torx bits on everything? Torx bit, Torx bit, Torx bit.
This is straight from the factory, folks. It looks like a crackhead did this shit.
Car mechanics are finally speaking out about why new cars are just not good anymore. And trust me, it is not good news. Before we dive into these mechanic confessions, take a second to hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. Let's see if we can get this video to 5,000 likes.
One of the things in today's world that is causing the average repair of your car to go up is the fact that automotive engineers used to think about us when they designed and built these cars. This is not a new car. This is a 2005 Honda CR-V, but as you can see here, we are doing a differential fluid drain and fill, which is on most cars 60,000 mile-ish service, but it should be simple. You pull the drain plug, let the oil run out, put it back in, pull the fill plug, and you fill it up until the fluid comes out. Really quick and easy. However, when the auto manufacturer decides to mount additional things in the way of the drain and the fill plugs here, we can no longer get this stuff out and get our tools in. If we pulled this plug, the drain plug out, it's going to end up filling this thing with oil, and then it drips for a while, and we cannot get to the fill plug that's up here in the top. And so we end up having to take more components out of the vehicle to do a service when they could have easily just designed it to be on this side. If the drain and fill plug were on this side where there's lots of room, this would have saved every one of the clients that drive these cars tons of money. It's out of our control. We are not the ones designing these cars, unfortunately, and if we would make things like this happen, but we're just here to keep them on the road and keep them going strong, and we have to deal with things like this, which unfortunately ends up costing the clients more money.
This right here is what I call a engineering marvel. Dodge Dart. Got nothing to say about this one, Dodge. Besides, wow! Fucking can't get the control arm out unless you take a piece of the frame out. The strut is held in by two pieces of fucking plastic. Woo! I was mind blown. Never have I seen something so stupid in my fucking life. That was baffling.
Can you imagine a company so stupid that they would put a changeable filter right there with 6 lines attached to it, crisscrossing each other, with no swivels, by the way, on the fittings, because why would you want to make it difficult? And then we're going to put all of this shit on top of it. So can you get to it? Oh, hell no. No, you cannot. Can't turn none of that shit. What kind of wrenches do you think I need to get in there? A serviceable item in a perfect location to not be serviced, ever. In fact, I would be surprised if anybody that owns one of these machines, which is Bobcat, could ever get in there. Thank you, Bobcat. Good job.
So I've got here a 2018 F-150, and this thing's got the 2.7 liter V6. And of course, we're replacing an engine oil pan on this thing because they always leak and they're one-time use pans, so you gotta buy a new pan every time you remove the old one. But check out this crazy thing right here. So we've got right here, this is the oil pickup. So this part of the oil pan, it fits into this right here on the oil pump. But if you follow the oil pump, they put a rubber belt to drive the oil pump. What in the world is this right here? If this little belt right here ever breaks on you, there goes your oil pressure and there goes your engine. And of course, you're not going to be able to replace that belt without taking apart the whole front of the engine, including the front timing chain. This just seems like such a cheap, cheesy design.
Likes. He's not wrong. It used to be that reliability and ease of maintenance were top priority.
Alright, so Nissan, I really appreciate how you built this or configured this motor for spark plug replacements. Fortunately, I was able to replace the first 3 in the front, but the back 3 are back behind here, and it's about 3 to 4 hours worth of work. That's ridiculous, Nissan. Come on. What are you doing? They're spark plugs. Why are we doing 4-hour spark plugs? Crazy.
So I have a question for the Nissan engineers. What exactly are you making your fender liners out of? Because it is cutting into the control arms, but there's absolutely nowhere on the fender liner. It's like that on the other side too. Right there. That's some really hard plastic or really soft aluminum. It's absolutely wild.
Why don't we just make a razor sharp ring that will scratch the shit out of the cylinder walls? Now I will show you the difference between old M5 and the new M5. This is what you're talking about when you are talking some bullshit in the comments. Tell me if I'm naming them wrong, because it's difficult speaking foreign language, but this is an oil ring, oil grab, oil catch ring, I believe. And this is from F10 model. This is old M5, still 4.4 V8 engine, and this is the newer one. This is F90, this is F10. This is a traditional old style oil ring that's been used for decades, that has spring on the inside of the ring. And if I try to compress it, it has a little play. It has a little give it to it. And the spring pushes the ring out to the walls. Now this is the new new version of on the M5 F90, and I will hear this. Look at this. It works exactly the opposite way. Instead of pushing it out, it pushes it in. This is the first thing, but the other thing that I am about to show you is they are incredibly sharp and they destroy your engines. Look at this. You see this? You see these cuts? Now I will show you what happens to the engine after this rings. We have M5, this is not competition, this is a normal engine. And look at this, scratches. So regular. This one is, yeah, no good. Here and there, on every single one of them. This is the main reason why the F90 normal engines, not competition, break at 20-30,000 kilometers. So now, instead of putting in the old, like the new style, the garbage style, we will put in the engine that we are here rebuilding, we will put old style spring that's been working for decades now, and nobody complained until BMW came with the brilliant idea, hey.
Today, engineers design cars for the assembly line and the finance department, not for the person who actually has to drive or repair them.
This is another reason why BMW engines are junk. Above me is my very broken 2001 BMW 740i Sport. The original issue that made BMW's junk, the V8s in the 90s and early 2000s, and that's the timing chain guides. These little pieces of plastic will ruin, basically total out a BMW, which We shall see why it's so expensive to fix and why the part fails. Well, we've kind of seen this movie before with all the parts on the ground, like the Alpina. One thing, though, a lot less parts on the ground. This looks a lot simpler.
It's way easier to work on, yeah.
This is a totally different generation of BMW. Very, very stock car and pretty unmolested. Now, that's an interesting view. It looks like it's about to fall out, Johnny.
They put 2 bolts and 2 nuts. I don't know why. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's out. Hey! And look who's here. Oh. Is it supposed to just gush out like that?
Yeah, it's pretty typical.
Well, that seems pretty straightforward. So, is this for the crank pulley? Jeez.
Yeah.
Did the head just pop?
No, I broke another one.
What are you breaking?
My tools.
Wow. And you said it's not the easiest thing to do, huh?
I can tell you, it's gonna break. The tool is gonna break. Don't mess with the Power Ninja. Oh!
That
broke again.
Oh no. Number 2 breaker bar down. Look at the twist in there too. And so this is what keeps breaking your breaker bars, right? So this
very simple.
This water pump.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this guy?
Alternator.
Alternator. Oh, it's a water-cooled alternator. That's
yes.
right. BMWs and their water-cooled alternators.
Very expensive.
So now we have all this out of the way. You have room to get the big in there to try and loosen this pulley up, huh?
We'll try. It's long. It's long.
Holy, yeah. That's a heck of a bolt. Those look pretty good. They weren't leaking.
Yes, they were.
They were?
Yeah. Look inside the spark plug.
Oh yeah, they were. Okay. And that crazy alternator's out. Where is it at?
Right there.
So this is the $1,000 water-cooled alternator. You can't see anything. You can finally see deep into the abyss of fail. But this whole big thing has to come off. How many bolts, Johnny?
A lot.
Read them.
Coming down.
And now we see bottom.
This clench here is frozen. Won't come out.
So you're using this big guy?
I mean, it should come by hand. Once you take the bolt out, it just falls off.
And you're shaking the entire engine and it's not coming out. It moved a little bit, it looks like.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
The Prestige badge simply doesn't mean what it used to. What you're buying now is endless sensor glitches, plastic cooling parts that crack, and repair bills that cost as much as a used car.
Happy Friday. So we're doing a timing chain on this Trailblazer, which wouldn't be a big deal if you could just take this timing cover off. But you gotta drop the oil pan off too. No big deal. They run the differential through the oil pan. Why they didn't just put the extra capacity behind the steering rack here instead of up here, and then you don't have to take that stupid shield off every time you do an oil change, I don't know. But here's the fun we're having. One of the pieces we needed to take out is this bad boy right here. They leave you 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, for jack screws, so you can dislodge this when it seizes in the motor and you drop pry bars. That's what we're doing today. The problem is when it doesn't want to come out. So now we get to call the customer and tell them that in the process of doing this, that decided to stay in the oil pan. This needs to come out so we can pull this shaft out so we can take the differential off on the other side, which is also seized in there. So I also need to prep him for the fact that he might need a differential if this happens on the other side. We've had penetrating oil soaking on this thing for over half the day because we were having issues with it initially, and put a couple of pieces of steel right in here so we didn't mess the oil pan up when we were trying to take this out. And that thing, we barely put any oomph on it, and she just snapped. We heard a little crack at first. We're like, cool, it broke through. And then we started looking, and we saw in here that the 4-wheel drive actuator is now turned into a 1-wheel drive kind of actuator, I think, maybe. And now we get to do the same thing over here. They have the same kind of deal where they got a couple holes that are really hard to see on this side. They got one up there, and they got a couple other ones that you put a screw through, pop it off. It worked phenomenal on the timing cover. These are the jack screws for that. Came right off. But they put aluminum on aluminum in here, and you know, we live in Wisconsin. It gets a little rusty. So, yeah. Fuck you, GM, and the engineer that designed this. You better hope I never meet you. Have a good fucking Friday.
From lifter failures to oil housing leaks and ridiculous packaging where you have to disassemble half the front end just to reach basic parts.
This message is for whoever created the 1.4 liter turbo Ecotec motor and the people at Chevrolet. What the fuck is wrong with you, huh? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Because everyone knows, look, everyone knows. The valve covers leak. The intake manifolds go out because the PCV system gets clogged up. And the PCV line goes bad. And what's missing here is the turbo, because the turbo's over here. I already replaced the turbo. There's the cat, because we had to pull the cat off to be able to pull the turbo off. And we only have to pull the turbo off, although we replaced the turbo like 6 months ago. And all of a sudden, the oil cooler down here where it mounts against the block is leaking and pissing all over the floor. So it goes through, I don't know, about a gallon of oil a week, and now I have to tear it all back down and fix it again. So Chevy, from the bottom of my heart, go fuck yourself. Hard. And I would love absolutely nothing more than to take this son of a bitch back to the dealership that my old lady got it from. But they did such a good job bending her over and fucking her without lube that guess what? We're like $8,000 upside down. Thanks, Chevy.
It's getting out of hand. Drop a comment down below. What do you think about modern automotive engineers? Are they forcing us into bad designs, or are strict regulations to blame?
Here's why I think cars that were built 20 years ago are better than modern day cars. From what we see and our experience, we see that nowadays there's way more plastic on cars than obviously metal. Plastic obviously is to reduce weight, easier to manufacture obviously when it comes to putting cars together and stuff like that. The downside of that, easy to break, easy to get damaged. A lot of plastic, cheaper labor and stuff like that. Number two, the metals they're using nowadays in cars is also cheaper than what they was using 20 years ago. So that is also a big issue. Cheaper metals equals breaking quickly, damages quickly, and stuff like that. So in my opinion, I think cars that were built 20 years ago are much more solid. That's why they last longer. That's why they're not in the scrapyard. They may need repairs like that one over there, but they won't end up in the scrapyard. That's why I think cars that are built 20 years ago and before that are better than modern day cars.
I told you this Mercedes is not holding any punches. It's definitely not this time. It's letting its owner know you own a Mercedes over 100,000 miles. Get your pocketbook out. And it's definitely showing its true colors. Starting to get a little wobbly in here, Mrs. Wizard.
Yes, looking a little uneven over there.
Just in the short amount of time that we've been talking to you guys to show you what's wrong with this GLS 450, the rear has already started sinking. It's almost to the top of the tire. In fact, it's below the top of the tire. It's sinking as we speak. So we finally reached the end of our list. Let's talk about it. Crazy D did explain to them 4,000, 5,000. It's going to be somewhere in that range. And the customer said, park it outside. We're done talking. I'm done.
Let's talk in the comments. Plastic components buried deep inside high-heat engine bays. Why execute a simple metal fix when you can use brittle plastic that guarantees a multi-$1,000 engine tear down at 60,000 miles?
It's funny to me, as cars get newer and the technology gets newer, I think they're actually going to get worse. This Mach-E does not have a door handle. This is a door handle, right? You pull on it, the door opens. This has a push button. Door opens. I have one problem with that. It snowed a little bit last night. Probably 1 or 2 inches. So my avalanche is here outside, right? So the Mach-E would have a push button somewhere around here. You're going to have to find the push button, right? Instead of just pulling the door open, right? Wow, that actually worked. So the push button would be somewhere around there. I guess if you own an EV, you should just park it in a garage. If you don't have a garage, don't own an EV. Because this is a push. That latch has to disengage. So what happens when it's iced over? You're not going to be able to just pull the door open, right? It's not going to be a simple process like that. This is a grab handle. So this is only going to work after the door has unlatched. If that mechanism gets frozen in there, you can't tug it open. There's no mechanical release to open that hint. Like, this is not going to get mechanically released from the outside like this is, right? You pull this unlatch button, this button is undoing that latch in there. Just wild to me.
General Motors has taken a massive hit in mechanic recommendations due to recent engine and transmission reliability issues, electrical gremlins, and poor build quality right off the lot. So, why is this happening? Why are modern car engines built so poorly compared to cars from 15 or 20 years ago? It comes down to three main things. 1. Planned obsolescence. Car companies don't want you driving a car for 200,000 miles anymore. They want you trading it in as soon as the warranty expires. 2. Cost cutting with plastic. Replacing durable metal parts with cheap plastic inside hot engine bays saves manufacturers millions, but costs you thousands down the road. 3. Overcomplication for emissions. Tightening regulations force manufacturers to cram massive turbos, direct injection, and complex hybrid systems into tiny engines, making them work twice as hard and fail twice as fast. The bottom line, if you want to save your hard-earned money and avoid endless trips to the shop, stay far away from these fragile modern cars. Look for proven, older, reliable models, or do deep research before signing a lease on a brand new money pit. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dive into the auto industry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.